What's up, everybody? This is John with Archer Film. All right, this next film is Horizon, an American Saga, the Kevin Costner Western. He wrote it, directed it, and stars in it. So this is what I think. Number one, there will be some spoilers. This movie, based on the reception so far, you'll probably see a second one come out. Apparently, the first and second have already been shot. Third and fourth are written and being prepped. So what I'm guessing is, since the first and second one are already finished, the second one will get a theatrical release. And unless something really exciting happens with it, the third and the fourth one will probably be streamed. Now, I don't want that. I wish that weren't the case. I love Kevin Costner films. His directorial films, Dances with Wolves, Open Range, they are fantastic. He was a big part of Hatfields and McCoys. That was also great as well. And so I would like to see this whole project, this 4-part saga, see the big screen and do really well for him, because it is cinema. I'm not going to say cinema at its best, but it is quality cinema. It's great. It's the kind of thing you want to see in theaters. This feels more like an old-fashioned Western. It feels like a novel almost, and that is both a plus and a minus for this. It starts with a very meaningful image, and if you know anything about my reviews, and I am obsessed with the opening and the closing shots of a film. But because this is part 1 of 4, Kevin Costner kind of deprives us of that. It's not like a cliffhanger at the end. It doesn't feel like, oh man, I wanted this story to be finished, now I have to wait till the other one. It feels like an epic saga that, kind of leaves you hanging a little bit, like you're going to have to, like you just finished reading a chapter in a book and you can't wait to read the next chapter. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in this case, it didn't feel like a proper ending based on the very opening image that we see. Now, again, spoilers ahead. The opening image is an ant pile, and the first thought you think is, we know a lot about an ant pile. You knock it down, the ants rebuild it. There's nothing you can do to stop them from doing their little job. Right away, a stake gets firmly implanted in the ant pile, and we see that it's some homesteaders in a place which becomes known as Horizon. And Horizon is more a state of mind than an actual town, and that is what becomes very clear. Now, that's an interesting idea, and already I'm hooked. I'm interested. The flaws in the film are in the first hour, and this, to me, just felt like there wasn't enough material. You can skip a lot of things and get to the main characters and get to the main plots a little bit sooner than he does. It's like he's painting this very broad picture, and we're seeing all the little brushstrokes in the beginning that we just don't need to see. Like when you're telling a story, you can skip over some stuff. Tell the most dramatic, the most interesting, and then move along. We're going to sit through 4 of these movies. I don't need the first 40 minutes being minor or characters that, maybe they come back later on, but they seem like they're just there to kind of paint this picture that the spot that they decided to settle is awful, and it's overrun by engines, and they don't take too kindly to these homesteaders, to put it bluntly. There's a lot of storylines going on, a lot of characters. It's kind of told almost in thirds. It's like, the Horizon homestead, then you have and the people that fled it, and once the Indians attack, you have Kevin Costner's character and this other sort of side plot, the kind of more interesting stuff, obviously. And then you have the wagon train people coming in, like kind of the third part. And then they kind of mix and mingle through the film. Now, that's not bad. I don't mind that. Like I said, it's like a novel. You get little pieces and clues, and then later on you find out how they're all linked up thematically or even plot-wise. And that's fine. But in this case, it was about 45 minutes before anything really thought-provoking happened. The reason I say that is like I didn't care about any of those people in the beginning. I did, and maybe that's, maybe that's the intent of the filmmakers is to kind of just paint these sort of brushstrokes with these people we don't care about, so we learn to sort of care about them later as we get, deeper dives into their lives, their goals, their dreams, their wishes, and all that stuff. But for me, the first hour, it does, not that it drags, it's interesting, it's shot well, it's shot beautifully, the performances are great. It's just that there's no real character to grab onto until about an hour into it, and then it gets really interesting. It gets really exciting. There's some great gunplay, and there's romance and intrigue and revenge and all these things, all the kind of staples in westerns come along, of some great monologues. Danny Houston, who's been one of my favorites ever since he burst on the scene, he's just got a great monologue that kind of sums up the whole saga, I assume. It's just really about, westward expansion and what it means and all that stuff. And it's smart, and it's well written and expertly performed. So again, that was my problem with the first 45 minutes to an hour. My other problem is with the ending. It felt to me like there was a lot of content and it was kind of edited together improperly. There needs to be some sort of structure to it and characters that we can follow that we're rooting for or not rooting for, and it has to play out in a certain way. There's an ebb and flow, an up and down of positive and negative, It can end on ironic, but we want to see that flow, the up and down. And unfortunately, it doesn't play that way. There's just these separate storylines, and they each go a different way, and then suddenly I'm seeing all this excitement and all these clips and fast forward in time to what I assume are the next movies. But it doesn't say that. It just sort of goes on this montage of all these other things happening with all the characters, skipping through time and all this stuff. And for me, that's a little discombobulating, especially when the movie started with a strong image, but then was kind of slow, and then we got into the characters and the drama, and there's some great, thrilling moments, nail-biting scenes. I loved it. But then you end it with this pseudo-dramatic sequence, and then you just sort of fast forward through like trailers for the next few movies, it seemed. And I just didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling of like, oh, yeah, I guess I should know that there's, other movies coming and that I'm just going to have to wait for all this excitement. When I think that he could have just ended it, with a very meaningful, very powerful sort of sequence with the main characters, at least one or two. There's basically three main storylines, and they kind of climax it on one of the lesser ones, one of the lesser characters that we didn't really care about. We haven't really gotten to know. And so that was a little weird. Now, unless that character has some significance later on, I just didn't I think that was the right way to go. If you're going to finish the first chapter and make me want to watch the other ones, you got to end it with one of the three like major storylines, the Kevin Costner storyline, the wagon train, or Sienna Miller's character, who came out of the first sort of story. And they just don't. And that's kind of, in my opinion, bad storytelling, bad editing. I don't care if there's 3 more movies to come. I don't care if it pays off in the next movie. There's got to be a way for you to tell the story to make it feel like this is one complete movie. And now I can't wait to watch the second one complete movie. That makes sense. So those were my issues. I still enjoyed it. My buddy James Russo was in it, which made me very happy. James Russo was in my movie, so it was really cool to see him. It always is cool. And so anyway, yeah, that is it. That's what I thought of Horizon. I still urge you to seek it out. Go see it. Go support big cinema. Go support Kevin Costner because he makes great films as a director. And, we got to keep theater alive. We got to keep the theater alive. We have to keep cinema alive. It can't just all be content. I think that the Axel F fiasco proves that. Anyway, that's it for me. I will see you in the next video.